My boyfriend confessed to me that he's attracted to my best friend. Should I leave him? I know you guys are gonna all say yes immediately, but hear me out. My boyfriend and I have been dating for 6 months. My best friend and I actually met him at a bar. That night, I never expected that he would ever come after me. I consider my best friend the prettier of the two of us, so I'm used to her getting hit on instead of me. But that night, my boyfriend came to me. He talked to me pretty much the entire night, and my best friend told me to go for it. So I did. He and I spent the night together, and after that, we were inseparable. To the point where he wanted me to move in with him after 2 months. My parents thought I was absolutely crazy and they didn't want me to move in with him, but I did anyway. I come from a Latino family, so this was absolutely reprehensible. I went against my family's wishes and they actually stopped speaking to me for a little bit, but luckily I got them back. My boyfriend during that time gave me all his support. He told me that my family would come around eventually and that they would see that we were in love. So living together was the logical next step. After 3 months of living together, I knew that I wanted to marry him, and he would talk about marriage all the time. He asked me what kind of ring I would want and what I would want for the proposal. We even started talking about our honeymoon. I was also starting to get in the best shape of my life. I was looking super snatched. My boyfriend told me that he loved the way that I look, but that he didn't want me to get skinny. Again, I just felt like he was supporting me and loving me. Around this time, my best friend started dating somebody. After a few weeks, they got really serious about the relationship. And of course, we went on double dates. After the third double date, I noticed that my boyfriend was getting a little annoyed. I got the feeling he was jealous of my best friend's boyfriend. I asked him if he was jealous of my best friend's boyfriend, and that's when he said no. But every time we would go on double dates, he would get in such a bad mood. 3 weeks ago, my best friend told me that she was moving in with her boyfriend. And when I told my boyfriend that they were moving in, his face almost went green. I asked him what was wrong and he said nothing. After that, he went into the bathroom and didn't come out for 40 minutes. Again, I asked him if he was okay and he said yeah. And I sat him down and asked him to be honest with me. That's when he said, "I'm attracted to your best friend." Instantly started to cry because I had already been suspecting it. He explained to me that he didn't have any feelings for her until she got a boyfriend, and that he felt that he had some sort of ownership over her. Before my best friend got a boyfriend, the three of us would hang out a lot. And not once then did I ever get a feeling that he was attracted to her. He told me that he would never act on his feelings, but he didn't want to go on any more double dates. I asked him if he wanted to be with her instead of me, and he said absolutely not. He said that I was the love of his life and that attraction only meant attraction, that he didn't have feelings for her. A few days later, he took me to the most expensive restaurant in our city and asked me to marry him. But I didn't know what to say. I can't stop thinking that he's attracted to my best friend. After he proposed, I told him I didn't know what to say. He told me to think it over. I finally decided to tell my best friend what my boyfriend had told me, that he had confessed that he was attracted to her. First, she laughed. I told her, "No, I'm serious. He confessed that he's attracted to you." That's when she told me I needed to break up with him. That's when I told her that he had also proposed. And she said, "Well, then you really need to break up with him now." That's when she told me that she didn't want me to resent her and that it was completely out of her control. And I didn't. I promised her that I would never resent her for my boyfriend being attracted to her. It's not like she ever did anything on purpose to make him feel attracted. She also told me that marrying him right now would be rushing into it. And she's kind of right. We've only really known each other for 6 months. Then she told me that she's never gotten the feeling that he's attracted to her. She's never caught him looking at her or anything like that. So now her theory is that he's looking for an easy way out and that he probably wants me to break up with him. But my boyfriend is still sweet and super affectionate. He's constantly showering me with love. My best friend thinks that if I stay with him, our relationship will suffer. I've known my best friend longer. What should I do?
Am I wrong for forcing my roommate to miss her finals exam that she spent 2 years studying for? Context: I live with a roommate and her 3-year-old child. Roommate is a 4th-year medical student and is really struggling having to balance with child, intense study workload, chores, and part-time jobs to afford rent, babysitter, and necessities. On the day of the biggest exam of her entire degree, her babysitter canceled last minute. She was absolutely frantic and hysterically called every one of her contacts to help. Of course, she asked me. She has asked me before to babysit, and I always give a stern no. It's not the time that I need to spend, since I'm perfectly fine with swapping around chores, but the principle that I must be responsible for the child for the duration. Example, if the child hurts himself, no matter how badly, it would be on me. And I refuse to take that responsibility for something like that, so I always refuse to babysit. She begged me, and since the journey to her exam center is almost 2 hours and she needed to go now, she just said, "I don't effing care," and just left the house. Frankly, I found this quite disrespectful, as it is trying to push me to babysit without my consent. Right after she left, I grabbed my coat and also left. She was starting her car when she saw me and asked what I was doing. I told her I was going to watch a movie. I lied. I just refused to babysit without consent. Her eyes dropped and I could see the tears forming as she started begging me more to help her. I still explained the same thing, and that it's not the time or effort, but the responsibility. She told me she would sign a waiver that states I am 100% not responsible no matter what happens. I am not an expert in law and not sure if such a waiver is even legally enforceable. Even so, it still carries a responsibility risk, so I stand my ground. Eventually, she became quiet and started sobbing while hitting herself. I, as respectably as I can, asked if there's anything I can help with that does not involve babysitting the child. She told me to F off, so I did and actually went to watch a movie. It's been a few weeks and she still absolutely refuses to communicate with me. I do feel pretty bad, since I've seen for the past 2 years we've lived together that she has almost no free time, always sleeps later than me, and wakes up earlier than me to cram in a little bit of extra study. I know the exam meant a lot to her, and missing the exam might jeopardize her entire degree of 4 years. It sucks that her efforts for the past 2 years has gone down the drain, but that's not an excuse to cross my bottom line.
So, when I was in Paris, my leg was killing me. I forgot my crutches, really annoying, and I always need them when I'm on holiday. So, mad, a prosthetic centre was 100 metres away, and I went in, I was like, look, can I just buy some crutches? They had no idea what I was saying because they couldn't speak English. Then this lady came down, she could, thank God, and she was like, your leg is not okay. I was like, what? She was like, who did your prosthetic leg? Like, it's not good. And she was like, tutting away. I was like, God, the French really say how it is. I had to come back the next day, bearing in mind I was on holiday, and I was like, I just want to be on holiday. I don't want to be sitting in a prosthetic centre. I came back and they checked my leg and they told me that it was all wrong. And apparently French medical is really good. They said that people who have prosthetic legs should never need crutches because your prosthetic leg should be good enough. I was like, mad. And turns out my prosthetic leg was way too big for me and I had no idea. So I came back to the UK, told my prosthetist, and now it's getting sorted out. But I was like, to the French, thank God I had my crutches, otherwise I would have never.
I met one of the good ones yesterday, lady. And if this man would like to come forward after I tell everybody what he did, hit me up. I'm gonna find you some pussy. I'm working out of my condo gym the other day. Okay, what am I doing with this? This is pretend. I go to my condo gym every day. I have a Peloton, but I'm using one of the machines I don't know how to use, like pulling down the whatever. Guy taps me on the shoulder. He goes, hi, do you know where the pool is? My condo gym is small. It's next to the pool also. How did you get in here? You need to like buzz in every room in my condo. I have my headphones in and shit, so I'm like, yeah, it's just in there. And he goes, okay, would you mind letting in the photographer? I just have to run upstairs. Can you just like buzz him into the pool? What the fuck is the context? I'm like, what photographer? And he's like, that one. And I turn around and there's this tatted guy standing there. He's just like, hi. I'm like, what is this for? And he's like, for me. I assume he was like a realtor and he was trying to sell his like unit or something and he wanted pictures of the amenities, but that's weird because obviously there's pictures of all the amenities online and you don't need your own photographer to do that. But whatever, as women, we often just want things to be over. Do you know when you're doing two things at once and you like weren't expecting something and you're just like, I don't even know what the fuck this means, man. Like, just go away. Sure, I'll let this guy. No, in my head, I mean, I do this all the time. Like, I think most girls do. I'm like, this is actually really weird. I shouldn't do this. But at the same time, like, what the fuck? Am I gonna get in a fight with this weird, aggressive man that like fucking had the balls to tap me on the shoulder while I'm like mid-pole? So I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And the photographer says, yeah, you know what? We're gonna move on from this room. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, I don't do stuff like this. Like, there's girls working out in here. I just think there's a whole consent issue and I'm not interested in shooting them. And I'm not interested in shooting anybody in the pool room either. The guy literally goes, there's cameras all over this condo. There's cameras watching them work out right now. That's the level of weirdo this dude was. And the photographer just goes, yeah, we're gonna just move on. I look around the gym and it's actually just me and like 3 girls. And rather than just make this crazy, stupid man happy and take pictures, not giving a fuck, he was just like, no, sorry, I'm not taking pictures of these girls working out. And I'm not taking pictures of anybody swimming in the pool. I was like yelling at him all the way out the door, and on the way out the door he goes, sorry about that. It's like, how sorry? Spank me. This story's taking 2 steps forward and 10 back. Anyway, thank you to that man for saying what I should have said but didn't, and speaking up for all the women in the gym. You were cute. Like, I'm sure you have a girlfriend, but if you don't, hit me up because everybody's looking for a man like you. Hottie, cutie, asking for consent, speaking up for women that you don't even know. We love a man that's part of the movement.
I was born in a small town in Lebanon to parents who were literally God's angels. Both of them were doctors who worked with a charity organization and treated most patients for free. So obviously we weren't rich, but we were happy. My parents' kindness rubbed off on me too, and even as a small kid, I couldn't see anyone miserable. But soon after I turned 14, my whole life changed. My parents had gone to Syria as part of a medical team, and a few days later, they were reported missing. As search teams still looked for them, I was sent to live with my aunt and cousin in Turkey. Aunt Rabia was extremely wealthy, and she lived in a huge mansion with her daughter Amel. Aunt welcomed me warmly and showed me around the house. There were beautiful decorative items in every corner. Oh wow, this vase is so pretty. That's Amel's choice. We bought it in Paris last year. You've seen the Eiffel Tower? I've heard it's gorgeous. I suddenly stumbled backwards and knocked the vase off the table, and it shattered into pieces. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's all right. I'll just call someone to clean up the mess, and we'll see the rest of the house later, okay? Gosh, why was I so clumsy? At dinner, I tried to be extra careful not to drop anything, and Aunt noticed my nervousness. Are you still thinking about those vases? Don't worry about it. But just in case Amel says something, don't take it too seriously, okay? What do you mean? Well, her heart's in the right place, but she just has, a different way of expressing her feelings. Just know that we're both very happy to have you here. I wasn't quite sure what Aunt meant, and I was quite curious to meet this mysterious Amel now. Aunt had to leave when she had an important call during dinner, and as I cleared up the plates, a group of laughing girls barged in. One of them spotted me and said, "Hey, you, go get something to drink for me and my friends." This girl must be Amel. "Hi, I'm Zara, and I didn't ask for your name, did I? Just go get me a Coke and an iced tea and a coffee. You know where the kitchen is, right?" I nodded and returned soon with the girl's drinks, and no one even said thank you, which felt odd to me. Just then, one of Amel's friends accidentally knocked over her glass, spilling her drink on the table. Amel snapped her fingers at me, and I wiped up the mess and left. Later, as I was watching TV in the lounge, Amel walked in alone, and she suddenly looked livid. "I know you're new, but are you crazy? You're a maid here, not a guest." "Actually, I'm not the maid. I'm your cousin, Zara." Amel looked taken aback. "So why were you acting like a maid before?" "I wasn't. You just asked me for something, so I did it." "But why? Are you some kind of moron who just does everything she's told?" "No, but you're my cousin, and I didn't mind helping you out." She just stared at my face, then started laughing and walked off. One day, Aunt was telling me about how she'd started her skincare company alone, and now it was $1 million business. I was really impressed. "I want to take my brand global, and I'm looking for someone to model the new range." "But you're so gorgeous yourself, Aunt. You should be the face of your products." Jeez. "Yeah, she's letting you stay in her home, but there's no need to be such a suck-up." "No, I'm serious. Aunt is stunning, and you take after her, you know." As if. "I guess Mom hasn't told you her little secret yet." And suddenly, she leapt forward and grabbed Aunt's hair. I thought she was going to hurt her, but then Aunt Rabia's hair came off. It was a wig, and she was completely bald. Aunt looked really embarrassed, and I guess Mom hasn't told you her little secret yet. And suddenly, she leapt forward and grabbed Aunt's hair. I thought she was going to hurt her, but then Aunt Rabia's hair came off. It was a wig, and she was completely bald. Aunt looked really embarrassed, and I was shocked beyond words. But Amel just laughed and walked off singing, "Mom is a baldy, Mom is a baldy." Aunt quickly tried to put her wig back on, but I stopped her. "Amel shouldn't have done that. But Aunt, you're stunning even without your wig." "Oh, Zara, you don't have to say that. I lost all my hair due to alopecia a year ago, and I know I look like a freak." "No, you don't. You look strong and beautiful, like a superhero straight out of a Marvel movie. It really suits you." "You really think so?" "Absolutely." I started school soon, and I felt a little out of place, but I decided I'd just focus on my studies. One day, I was having lunch outside in the schoolyard when a football came flying out of nowhere and hit a young boy playing close to me, knocking him down. I immediately helped him to his feet, then took him to the bathroom and got him cleaned up. "Are you feeling okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine." "But wait, my iPod! I can't find it. It must have fallen down somewhere." "Don't worry, I'll help you look." We both went back to look for it, but when I found it, it was completely smashed, like someone had stepped on it. The boy was about to burst into tears, and I quickly said, "Hey, don't cry. Okay, how about I give you mine?" "Really? Is your mom gonna be okay with that?" "Yeah, I'm pretty sure my mom won't mind. There, it's all yours." "Thank you so much. You're awesome." Suddenly, someone behind me spoke.
Wow, awesome indeed.
I turned around to see a tall, handsome boy holding a football.
I'm sorry, that was my football that hit him. Kicked it a little too hard.
"I think you should be saying sorry to him, not me." But the little boy was already skipping away with my iPod.
I guess I owe you an iPod. Why'd you give yours away anyway?
"Because it's just an iPod, and look how happy he is." He was about to say something when suddenly Amel appeared and threw her arms around his neck. "There you are, babe. I see you've already met my cousin. And Zara, this is my fiancé, Murat."
Oh, you two are cousins?
Yes. Remember I told you about the orphan cousin from Libya that we took in? You know how big-hearted Mom is. It's Lebanon, and I'm not an orphan. My parents will be back soon. But yes, my aunt is generous and amazing. And with that, I walked away. A few days later, Aunt was hosting a dinner for Murat and his parents. Everything seemed to be going smoothly. But when the soufflés were served, they had sunk in, and Amel called for the cook. "Did you expect me and my guests to have this soup for dessert? I know you're not the brightest, but how stupid do you have to be to mess it up?" "Amel, that's enough, honey. You can go now." I felt furious. I wanted to tell Amel off so badly, but I didn't want to create a scene. Later that evening, as we all sat in the living room, Murat suddenly turned to me and said, "I've noticed that you're always wearing this big watch. It seems too heavy for your wrist." "Oh, yeah, it's my dad's. Mom gave it to him for his birthday, and, well, I've just borrowed it till they get back home." "Zara, could you please not talk about your parents? It's just uncomfortable." "It's not uncomfortable for me to talk about them." "Yes, but it makes other people feel weird. No one wants to talk about depressing stuff." I felt angry tears stinging my eyes, and I quickly excused myself. And went out to the garden. I found the poor cook crying outside, and I consoled her as best as I could. As she walked away, I turned to find Murat behind me. "Your cook seemed really upset. Maybe Amel was a bit harsh. But I guess you have to deal with servants a certain way." "A certain way? The only way to deal with anyone is with respect." "Yes, but she made a mistake, and Amel had to tell her." "Not in front of everyone, and not like that. And the cook is only human. Her son is really unwell, and she's worried. And even then, she prepared a whole feast for us." "Do you know everything about all the servants?" "I do talk to them. Don't you?" "Sure, to give instructions, but nothing about their personal lives." "They live in your house and serve you every day, and you don't care to know anything about them?" "Wait, are you saying I'm arrogant?" "Well, yes. Yes, I am." I started walking away, but suddenly, he gently grabbed my wrist. "Amel shouldn't have said that about your parents. I'm sorry, and I'm sure they'll be found soon." "Me too. And thank you." And then I left. The next evening, when I went to the kitchen, the cook seemed to be in a really good mood, and she told me that Murat had offered to fully pay for her son's treatment. I guess he wasn't so bad after all. A few weeks later, I was walking out of a cafe in town when I walked straight into someone. Murat. A small velvet box fell at my feet, and we both quickly bent down to pick it up, and ended up bumping our heads really hard. Then we both burst out laughing and sat down on a bench. I just picked out a ring for Amel. You know, we have our engagement party in 2 weeks. What do you think?" He opened the box to reveal a diamond ring. "I'm sure she'll love it." But I asked what you think. "It's lovely. I'm just the wrong person to ask about diamonds." "Well, what kind of ring would